This is such a lovely painting by Matisse. I love the colors. I love the bold brush strokes there. It's just so pretty, and the composition's really pretty simple, but it's just stunning. So here is the original. Here is the very simple outline. I've traced the outline onto Arches 140-pound cold pressed paper. I've got some paints mixed up over here. I've got some sap green and a little bit of indigo up here. Let me scoot this down a bit. And in this one, I've got some alizarin crimson with some sap green. It kind of made a, almost like a burnt sienna color, almost, with a little bit more red. And then down here, I've got burnt sienna, see, very similar, and alizarin crimson. I'm not going to try to copy these colors exactly. I'm just going to get inspired to use whatever colors I think I want to use. So let's get started. To start with, I'm going to paint these pots. I've got this mix of alizarin crimson and sap green. I've got some burnt sienna and alizarin crimson. I think I've got a little bit of sap green in here, and then I've got all alizarin crimson here. So I'm just going to, I've got a cat trying to get up here. I'm just going to start at the top here and just start laying down some color. And then I'm going to just drop in some alizarin crimson and let it go where it wants to go. Okay, I've got a cat trying to get in here. I've got to stop. I'll be back. Okay, Cucumber has stepped away for a moment. Okay, now to the second pot here. See how pretty that looks when I dropped in that alizarin crimson. I'll drop in a little bit more here. There's going to be a lot of dark around the geranium flower there. I really like the little touch of alizarin dropped in. Like I said, I'm just gonna kind of be inspired to drop in. I think I'll drop in some sap green up here. Just to be different. Look at the beautiful blend there. Okay, we've got some other pots over here, or one here, and then the one down there. Let's drop some alizarin. Okay, I want some kind of the shadow of this leaf. And then we've got the pot at the bottom. I'm just mixing everything together here. Now I'm going to come in here with some of the sap green. Grab some of this indigo because it gets pretty dark here. Look how pretty the pot's at the top, all the blending. It's just so pretty. Really love that. I love that. This is kind of plain, but we'll spice that up later. Okay, let's work on the leaves. Being very careful, I'm going to do this leaf last because this is still wet. I don't want that bleeding in, but if it did, that would be fine. I've got some lemon yellow here. I'm going to start with some of the lighter leaves right here and over here. I'm going to start with some lemon yellow because those leaves are pretty bright, and I want to make sure I keep some of that brightness. Now let's come in with the sap green. Now I'm getting some darker green here. by blending in some of the, mixing in some of the indigo. A little bit more water here. Just dropping in some of this indigo over here where it's really pretty dark. And just letting it blend, letting it do whatever it wants to do. Need some more indigo. Drop in while it's still wet, because that just creates such fun texture, such pretty texture. Need some more sap green. I never mix up enough paint. It's very rare when I do. Unless I'm doing a really large background, and then when I'm want to make sure that it is a consistent color in the background, I will mix up like twice what I need. Okay, that's looking really pretty. like the way the pot have the green blended in with this color mixture up here, which was alizarin crimson and sap green. The granulation, it really looks like moss on the side of that pot. It turned out pretty cool. So next I'm going to mix up a color for this background here. It's kind of pinky, it's kind of purpley. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to end up with, but I will let you know. Okay, I'm going to start doing a section at a time. This section, and then omit this to start with, just kind of skip it so that this can dry, and then just kind of work my way up section at a time. So what I've mixed up here is some alizarin crimson with some indigo. It kind of has a peachy rosy color to it. And then I've got some indigo up here that I'm just going to drop in wherever I think it needs it. I'm keeping the colors pretty simple, just using alizarin crimson, indigo, sap green, lemon yellow. I think that's all I've used so far. Burnt sienna. Oh, yeah. This looks a little too pink. Let me go ahead and drop some of this in there. How do you tone down red? You add green. So that's what I'm doing. I'm adding some green here. Oh yeah, I think that's better. I like that little bit of purple in there. Okay, I'm going to drop in some of this blue indigo. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to skip this section to let that dry and go to this one. Drop in some of this indigo right here because that would be the shadow of that leaf. I'm going to drop in some indigo in a couple of places just for interest. I really like how this turned out down here. I dropped in a lot of indigo up there because I wanted this top shelf area to be a little kind of in the background. I didn't want it to be too bright. So I just toned down, cooled it down with some of this indigo, making kind of a mauvey purpley color. And my hand is down there messing up the paint. That's okay. I'll just give it extra texture. Okay, we're going to let this dry. Now I'm going to work on this section right here and then these two sections here and add some of this blue here at the bottom up there. Using the same colors, I added a little bit more water to this kind of pinkish brown color to make it a little bit lighter there. And I'm going to dip my brush in water and just kind of spread this paint around. That's almost the same color as the pot, which is fine because I'm going to drop in some of this blue, this indigo. Let it blend out. Got a damp brush here. I'm just going to spread this paint around. Do the same over here. If you wanted, you could drop in some salt while it's wet and create some interesting textures. Just have fun with it. This is really dark right here. I'm not worried too much about the edge of the leaves or really the pot or anything because as you see, there are some bold brush strokes here kind of outlining some of the leaves, which I will add at the very end. Looks like there was some lemon yellow, which I will drop in and watch what it does. Oh yeah, that'll be pretty. Let's drop in some blue here and there. Okay, I'm going to turn this upside down and add the darks right there, which is, I'll turn this upside down too to show you these sections right here. Just a dark indigo blue. I may drop in some of this color mix here. Okay, let's turn this. Colors are really pretty, so pretty. Okay, now I'm going to add some kind of bright blue down here, right here. This sheet of paper is longer than the original photograph or the original painting, so I just extended this bottom part down. So I'm going to add some blue right here and then add whatever color I feel inspired to do down there. So that blue looks to be, I'm going to start with cerulean. It's not as bright as the original painting, but that's okay. I'm not trying to copy it exactly. Here is some indigo. I dropped in some of the indigo just because I thought the cerulean might just be a little too bright. Now I'm going to add a little bit of cerulean on the bottom here. Just like in the painting, it's got this bright blue. We'll just see what this does. Ooh, that is really opaque there. That's okay. Kind of soften that edge. I kind of like it being opaque right there. So I'm adding more on this side. Liked it so much, I'm going to add some more down here. This was almost dry, so it may cause a bloom, some hard lines or something. I don't care. I think it's going to be pretty. There was some blue right there as well. So I'm going to get some of this very bright blue here. I really like this blue down here. Okay, I'm going to finish this bottom here with this mix of alizarin crimson and sap green. If it bleeds with that cerulean blue, I don't care. I'm gonna drop in some of the indigo. Most of this at the bottom will be covered by a matte anyway. Okay, I'm going to let this dry and then start adding the dark here and the dirt and some of these really, really darks. But I need to let this dry. Look at the pretty colors. Okay, this is dry. So now I'm going to add these darks in this section right here. It's really dark. So I've got indigo, and I did mix some neutral tint in with the indigo because I really wanted a dark. Really, really dark. This is very concentrated. Lots of pigment in here. And there's a little cat hair that was on my brush. Imagine that. This is really going to make those leaves pop. It's going to send them forward. I'll come back and do this stem later. It's really dark. It's really pretty. Just adding some of these outlines. And this leaf was really pretty much in the shade. So I'm going to start it with indigo, with that mixture, and then take a damp brush and kind of smooth it and encourage it to come to the other side without it being dark the entire leaf. I think that's good. I think I'll smooth this a little bit, at least on one side. I'm just going to smear it around. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, we're going to add some dirt in here. Just put a little bit and then come with a damp brush and finish it off. Okay, I think I'm going to do another layer up here because that really isn't dark enough. So I'm going to turn it upside down and use this same paint, which is very intense, but add a little bit of water because it's a little bit, this is a little bit lighter than that in the original, but it needs to be darker up here. Make the pots really stand out. I'm looking forward to painting the geranium. Okay, now I'm going to work on the dirt here in this pot. I'll use this same mix. Okay, we need to let this dry. Okay, I've mixed up some alizarin crimson and sap green. At first it was too brownish, but look at that brown. How beautiful is that? So I added more sap green to, I'm sorry, not sap green, I added more alizarin. So now I'm just adding some value to the pots. And then taking a damp brush and just kind of smearing it around, encouraging it to go wherever it wants to go. I had some white highlight there that I didn't want, so I am going over that. I'll drop in some more over here. And I'm going to come over here with some of the sap green that I've got mixed up and add some more value here. Let it touch the alizarin and sap green up there. Kind of soften that edge a little. You don't have to. You can let it be a hard edge. It doesn't matter. Now I need to mix up some more so I can do these other pots. Okay, I've got some more mixed up. Let's show you what color it is. Isn't that beautiful? It's just so pretty. Okay, so let's add some to these top pots, just on one side, and then take a damp brush. I rinsed it out, dabbed it, and then just kind of smoosh it around. It's a technical term for you, smoosh. And then the pigment can go wherever it wants to go. It. We don't want to flood it with water. This is the pretty green. I love that green in there. I need to do those flowers, the geraniums. While that's still wet, I'm going to add some of the sap green just because it looked so pretty when I added it in there. I dabbed it, and I'm going to kind of encourage it to move around. Okay, you do what you want to do. I did my part. Rinse my brush. You could use 2 brushes so you don't waste any paint. One to encourage it to move around, and one with the pigment. Let's do this one here. Make sure you leave a highlight for that rim. Dab it. And this one is still, I need a little bit more. I think it's, no, let's make sure. This is such a handy tool. It's the Ranger Heated Craft Tool. It doesn't have a strong blower, it just has a really good heat, so it's not going to blow your paint around, it's just going to dry it quickly. I'm going to go ahead and go over all the dirt too. Rinse and dab it. I think it needs to come down here some. Oh, that's really pretty. I just love that. Okay, so I'm going to add shadow underneath each of these ledges, the shelves. That one I don't need because we've got so much dark, but I need to add some here and some here. So I'm going back into this indigo and neutral tint mixture. And I'm just going to make a line. And then I'm going to use another brush because I don't want to waste my paint. And go in with a damp brush and kind of tickle the edge and let it come down. You see how much that recedes right here and lets you really see that that is a shelf. Do the same thing here. Got my damp brush. I keep dabbing the brush on a paper towel to take some of the water away. Okay. I think, yeah, I'm looking at the reference photo and then it got really dark down in here and over here. So it's the shadow of the leaf. So I'm going to make sure it's in there. Okay, this last bit over here. And this shadow kind of comes down here. Here with my damp brush, tickle those edges. Okay, I'm going to do the same down here. This is not in the painting here. That's something I added. Damp brush. I think I'm going to take some of this color I used for the pots and just add some down here. Some of it's going on like dry brush, that's okay, giving it some texture. Okay, now I'm going to work on the stem here, which looks to be kind of a brownish. So we know if I add green to this alizarin crimson, I can't even say that, I'm going to get a brown. I dried my brush a little bit. I'm going to make a little highlight here by just dragging the brush down. You may have to do it a couple of times depending on how much paint you added. But I'm just going to drag it down a few times, constantly wiping it, because I want to take some paint off and leave a highlight on that side. And then I'm taking a little bit of this, the dark color, and I'm just going to go down on the left side of it. Okay, so now I want to do this stem, which is kind of, it's got the dark color, it's got some green in it, so we're gonna just do that. Get some more sap green going on here. Let me make sure we have enough dark here. I'm adding neutral tint to this right now. So I'm going to start at the top with the neutral tint and indigo mix, and then come down, and then I'm going to pick up this green and just transition. Actually, I want to go over that neutral tint. I'm going to drop a little in here, kind of the shadow of that leaf. Almost dry brush, just kind of tickling that edge. Okay, while I have this this sap green out with this indigo over here in the corner, I'm gonna get that indigo and have it come over and play with the sap green. And then just looking at the reference photo, I'm just adding some of this darker green where I think it kind of needs to be. I'm gonna even put some of this dark in here. And then take a damp brush and just kind of tickle those edges. See where else this needs to be. I'm just going over this whole piece right here. Except for that yellow. I want to keep that there, but take a damp brush and kind of smooth it out. If you heard a little squeak, that is my cucumber. She wants to get into the closet. I don't want her in the closet. Okay, let's let this dry. Okay, while I have some of this dark here, which is indigo and neutral tint, I'm gonna make some of these lines here and make this darker right there. Smooth this again. I needed some darker shadow right there. Kind of dragging my brush through this. It's acting a little like dry brush technique on what I just added, which is fine. Gives it some texture. Okay, let's darken this shadow here. Dry brush here. I'm just gonna take this dry brush here and dip it in some paint, and let's see what we can do. Just make some texture back here. Don't like any of the lines, just take a damp brush and you can smooth it out. I actually kind of like these. Okay, what about the flower? I need to go around the leaves with some dark. You see, oops, I've got a kitten up here. Whoa, you can't be up here. Cucumber, do you see that? You can't be up here. Okay, let me pause. Okay, now I'm just going to take some of this dark mixture of indigo and neutral tint and just make some lines around the leaves, wherever I think it needs it, around the pot. Not around the pot yet, because I think that's still wet around there. But I think it's okay in other places. to be. I think this dirt in the pot needs to be darker. Is this dry enough? I think it is. There's a pretty significant outline around this main pot. A damp brush, I'm just going to kind of soften it up a little. There's actually a little green down here. Okay, I think we can finish with some of these outlines. Okay, I think we can work on the flower. So for the flower, bring back my alizarin dish here. So I'm going to grab some alizarin crimson over here. Now if I were to put this on this painting, it would just be too bright. It would just really stand out. I mean, look at that. That's just too much. So I'm going to add, it looks like it has a little bit of yellow in there, but first I'm going to add just a little bit of sap green, kind of tone down the brightness of that. Now we're this color. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of the lemon yellow. More sap, not more sap, more alizarin. I definitely want it to read like a red flower. Let's see what we got here. I kind of got very, very thick paint. Okay, let's see if I can find a spot on here. Yeah, that's better. It's not too bright in your face, but it does need to have some red to it. Okay, so first I'm going to put some lemon yellow kind of as an underpainting around this area of the flower. And make sure that everything around here is dry, or you're going to introduce some interesting color bleeds, which would be fine. Okay, rinse my brush out, take some of this alizarin and just drop it in. Let it blend with that yellow. We're going to add some more yellow in a bit. Just dropping some pigment, some paint onto this. Oh, that's really pretty. To get some of this lemon yellow again and kind of tickle the edges with it. Let it go inside the flower, blend with that alizarin. I'm going to cover all these white spots here with this yellow, because you don't want this white to slap you in the face. Okay, let's get some more yellow. Now, in the original painting, where you see, kind of compare yours to the original, and then if you see areas that you want to lift up, just take a dry brush and just lift up to get some highlights in there. Every time I do it, I'm dabbing it. See how much I'm dabbing? Each time I come up, I'm dabbing it. Not dabbing it, I'm actually wiping. I'm actually putting more highlights in it than what's in the original. I'm taking artistic license there. Okay, let's let this dry and then I'll come back and see what else I think needs to be done. Okay, I'm going to fix some of the areas that show some white. And I'm going to use whatever I have here. This is alizarin with sap green. Just kind of fixing some of these white spots. I'm going to switch to this dark color. I didn't want to introduce any pink up there. Just kind of, let's slap that white off the page. And then take a damp brush and just kind of smear it around. some sap green there. Okay, around this edge of the leaf, need a little outline. Need more dirt in this pot. I'm gonna lift some up just to have some texture in there instead of just an oval. Let's see. Let's let all of this dry, and then I'll do my outline for the flower and then see what areas need to be lifted. That's the fun part. The very last part is doing some lifting to get some highlights. Okay, while I'm evaluating this thing, I think this edge of the shelf needs to be darker. The value here is much darker than I've got there. So I'm gonna go over that again and give it a little boost of value. I'm going to use whatever is in this. Maybe I'll add some of that in there. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of purplish, doesn't matter. This needs to be a little bit darker. And I think I'm going to go over this with the same. I'm just going to kind of glaze over here. Kind of add a lot of water here just to knock that down a bit. That blue was a little in my face. So just do a very thin glaze over. Yeah, I think that's better. In fact, I think I'll take it all the way down here, all the way to the bottom. Okay, yeah, that's much better up there. Much, much better. Okay, now I need to add some shadows up here around. Oops, I touched it around this flower. Okay, I've mixed up some more indigo and neutral. You could use all indigo or all neutral, whatever you want. And I'm just going to add some shadows here. And I'm going to get my other brush and dab it and just kind of smooth that. There's some over here as well. Take my damp going to make some of these outlines, these lines on the flower, around the flower. I'm going to turn it upside down to do it so I can get to it a little bit easier. I always have a paper towel in my hand. Turn it right side up and see. Oh, that's pretty. Oh my gosh, it's coming together. Go around this one. I'm just going to go around all the petals. Then I'm going to dab it with a paper towel where I think it might be too dark. It's probably not, but I'm just gonna knock it back a bit. Okay, I think now is the time to work on some highlights. And I don't know why this is the funnest part to me, so I'm going to look at the original painting and see where I think I need to do a little lifting. I think here, maybe a little bit in the pot here. We will see. I'm just going to get a chisel brush. This is a Silver Silk 88 chisel blender. Any kind of flat brush or any stiff brush probably that you would use for acrylic painting, a little bit stiffer than watercolor, because you want to scrub it just a little bit. So I'm just going to start with this over here. I'm just going to scrub it a little, and then dab it up with a paper towel. You see how that really brought some highlight here. I think I'm going to, and then rinse it off between each scrub, because you're just going to be moving paint around. I want to get a little bit better highlight here. Oh, that's good. There was a little highlight around the dirt area where the dirt met the pot. So I want to show that. Okay, and I want a little bit more highlight right here. Just go back and forth and dab. Oh yeah, that's it. Let's bring this around a little bit further. Okay, that's good. You see how much that makes a difference? It really does. Okay, rinse. Let's work on some leaves here. I think we need, let's see, I wanted to get a highlight here. A little highlight on this leaf here. Makes a huge difference. A little bit over here. completely lost this stem here, which was pretty bright in the original. So I'm just gonna scrub it and get it back. I'm getting it back. And this is to all one value, so I'm just going to scrub a little, give it some value. Let's see, let's do a little highlight around this edge. And I want some highlight over here. It doesn't show in the original, but I think it needs it. On mine, not on his. His is perfect. It is perfection. Okay, this needs to have a little highlight on the stem. I'm just going down a couple of times and lift it up. And this main stem there, I'm going to add some dimension to it by making a little line here. See how that gave it shape? Okay, what else needs to be done? I think I'm going to add just one more layer to the flower petals. And that we used alizarin. I'll put it right here. That's a lot of alizarin. And sap green. That's too much sap green. It made a beautiful brown. So let's do more alizarin. More alizarin. Okay, let's test this color. Oh, that's deep. Oh, that's really pretty. Look at this. This is all the colors in this painting right here. Okay, I'm just going to dab a little on each petal where I think the darkest value should be. And then take a damp brush and kind of smooth it out. If you put too much, you think you put too much, just dab it up. Very dry brush here. This is me fiddling, another technical term in watercolor. Now I'm lifting up most of the paint I put down. but I got just the right amount there now, in my opinion. Now I'm going to drop in a little bit of the lemon yellow. Where the highlights are. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to let this dry and then see if there's anything left I need to do to it, but I think it's done. So I noticed that this flower petal and my flower petal here, it's not really connected. So I'm gonna see if I can lift some of this dark right here and see if I can connect it. Now this may be when I really mess up this painting beyond return, but I'm gonna see if I can connect these two. I think I can. Okay, let's add some of this paint here, which is way too pigmented. But that's okay, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna connect the petals. I'm gonna dab some up here. Drop in some of this yellow here. Well, it kind of connected it in kind of an odd way. So I'm just going to leave it to dry. I'm kind of scrubbing a little bit more in there. Take away that dark outline. Let's drop in some more. Looks like there's a little shadow, or that may not be a shadow, that may be part of that pot behind there. So I'm just going to add some of this color in here. Let's just have it all kind of come together. Okay, I think that's about as good as I can make that join the rest of the flower. I think so. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll come back and evaluate again. Okay, I'm still fiddling. I'm working on, I think this needs to be outlined a little bit. Someone needs to be here and tell me to walk away. Okay, I'm calling it done. It's done. But you know, the last step is this, a mat. Makes a huge difference. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you love Matisse as much as I do, or that you've grown to love his style. I'm a huge fan. So thank you so much for being a Patreon subscriber. It means a lot to me. It truly does. Thank you.